You are praying, fasting, doing everything right. But the miracle does not come, the blessing stalls, the door does not open. And deep down, inside, you already suspect the reason. You feel that there is someone near you, someone from your own family, who roots against you, who smiles to your face, but behind it carries a look of envy that paralyzes everything God wants to do in your life. If this describes what you are living, stay with me until the end of this video, because in the next 3 hours, the source of this family envy will be exposed and will fall. And I will show you why this happens, how this blockage works, and what you need to do now to free yourself for good. Pay attention. I'm not talking about a distant enemy. I'm talking about that person who sits at the Sunday table with you, who shares the same roof, who knows your plans, your dreams, your weaknesses, and uses all of this, even without realizing it, as spiritual ammunition against your life. Family envy is the most dangerous type of attack because it comes disguised as affection, concern, or advice. Think with me. How many times have you shared an achievement and the reaction you received was a strange silence? How many times did you tell of a project and heard, "Is it the right moment?" or "Be careful, many people have already broken trying"? Phrases that on the surface seem like care, but deep down are blades that cut your confidence, your self-esteem, and your capacity to dream. And if you have already tried to explain this to someone and were called exaggerated, ungrateful, or someone who sees evil in everything, know that this silencing is also part of the strategy. There is a real spiritual mechanism behind this, and no, you are not going crazy. This tightness you feel now upon hearing this sensation that each word describes your reality, this has a meaning. The weight you carry, the doors that lock, the dreams that die near to being realized, all of this has a root that needs to be uprooted. That was why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, the Manual of God's Chosen to Protect the Family. This material was created for those who feel they carry a spiritual responsibility greater than they can explain. People from all over Brazil have already accessed it and reported to me that the atmosphere of the house changed, that relationships were restored, that doors locked for years opened. The link is in the description of the video and pinned in the comments. Do not leave it for later. This content has a deadline, and when it goes off the air, it does not return. If this makes sense to you, comment "protected" down below. Now let us go deeper. In the Bible, the first murder in human history happened within a family. Cain and Abel were brothers. They grew up together, were raised by the same parents, worshipped the same God. But when Abel's offering was accepted, and Cain's was not, what was born inside Cain? Envy. It was not a stranger who killed Abel. It was his own brother. The blood that ran in that field was family blood. And this same dynamic repeats itself until today in millions of Brazilian homes, in ways that do not always involve physical violence, but that destroy destinies with the same efficiency. The blow does not come with a knife. It comes with a comment at Christmas lunch. It comes with gossip in the family group. It comes with that look that feigns joy but hides resentment. Neuroscience has already proven that envy activates the same region of physical pain in the human brain. When someone feels envy of you, that person's brain literally suffers. And this suffering generates an unconscious need to balance the situation, that is, to see you diminished. Research conducted at universities in Japan and the United States shows that the anterior cingulate cortex, the same area that processes pain, lights up when a person witnesses the success of someone close. And the most disturbing part, the closer the bond, the more intense the reaction. The envy of a brother hurts more than the envy of a work colleague. The envy of a mother hurts more than that of a neighbor, because the brain makes the comparison automatically, and when the reference is someone who should be by your side, the suffering is amplified. Imagine this being fed every day, at every lunch, in every group conversation on the cell phone, in every weekend encounter. Imagine the sister-in-law who smiles when you show the travel photo, but inside is corroding herself. The brother who changes the subject when you talk about your business. The aunt who compares your children with hers in a way that always diminishes you. These scenes are more common than we would like to admit, and it is here that the danger multiplies, because what you just understood about the brain is only half of the equation. There is a spiritual dimension operating together, and whoever ignores this dimension stays trapped in the cycle without knowing the way out. If this revelation hit you, if you felt the weight of this truth in your chest, pay attention to what comes next, because from now on, I will show you how this silent envy operates within the family structure in a way that will completely change the way you view your relationships. That was why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, the Manual of God's Chosen to Protect the Family. In it, this mechanism is unmasked in details that I cannot cover in a video. Access is in the description and in the pinned comments. Comment armored and guarantee yours now, because those who have already read it know that this material changes one's vision forever. Family envy does not need to be declared to take effect. It works in silence. It works in the look. It works in the energy that the person carries when they enter your house. You have felt this, have you not? That sensation that something changes in the environment when a certain person arrives. The children become agitated without reason. The spouse becomes irritated out of nowhere. You lose the peace you had 5 minutes before, and when the person leaves, it takes hours, sometimes days, until the climate normalizes. Have you noticed how certain Christmases, certain birthdays, certain family barbecues end in a fight, in malaise, in people who do not speak to each other for weeks? It is not chance. It is a contaminated atmosphere. See, the family was designed by God as a covenant system. It is like an electrical circuit. When all the wires are connected correctly, the energy flows, the light turns on, everything works. But it only takes one stripped wire, one point of short circuit, and the entire system collapses. The envy of a single family member works exactly like that defective wire. It does not need to be the majority. One person with a contaminated heart is enough to compromise the flow of blessings over the entire lineage. You can have 10 people in your family rooting for you, but if one of them operates on the frequency of envy, that single distorted frequency disrupts the entire signal. And do you know what makes this even more dangerous? Family envy is almost never recognized by the one who practices it. The person who envies you will hardly admit it, not even to themselves. They rationalize the feeling. They transform it into concern, into realism, into "I am only being honest with you." But the truth is that the human heart is deceitful above all things, as the prophet Jeremiah says, and many times the person who most harms you spiritually is the same one who swears they love you from the heart. In the book of Genesis, the story of Joseph illustrates this with a frightening clarity. Joseph was the youngest among 12 brothers. He had grand dreams, an intimate relationship with his father, an evident calling upon his life. And what did the brothers do? They sold him as a slave. They threw him into an empty cistern in the desert. They dipped his tunic in goat's blood and lied to their father, saying he had been devoured by a wild animal. All because of envy. It was not an external enemy, it was blood brothers. And for years, Joseph lived what many of you are living now. Injustice, solitude, incomprehension, closed doors, false accusations, a dungeon without merit. But here is the point I want you to engrave in your heart. God's plan for Joseph was not cancelled by the envy of his brothers. It was delayed, it was painful, it was confusing, but it was not cancelled, and the same applies to you. The envy that someone in your family feels for you has no power to destroy what God has decreed. It has power to delay, to confuse, to make you doubt, but to destroy never. And it is exactly this that I am going to teach you to combat now. But before, if this content is making sense, if it is stirring something inside you, take a pause and leave your like on this video. This simple gesture helps this video reach other people who need to hear this message. And if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe now and activate the bell. Let us talk about the symptoms. How do you know you are being targeted by family envy? There are signs that repeat with an impressive frequency in the reports I receive, and I want you to pay close attention because each sign I describe may be the missing piece in the puzzle you have been trying to assemble for years. The first sign is the cycle of near achievement. You get close to realizing something important, a job, a business, a reconciliation, a healing, and at the last hour, everything crumbles. It seems there is an invisible hand pulling the rug always at the decisive moment. That job that was certain and in the final interview went wrong. The business that was closed and the partner gave up without explanation. You look back and see a sequence of almosts that seems impossible to explain by logic. The second sign is progressive isolation. Little by little, you move away from the people who do you good. Friendships weaken, opportunities distance themselves, and you see yourself increasingly trapped in the toxic family nucleus without realizing that this is a strategy. Envy does not only want to diminish you, it wants to isolate you, because an isolated person is a vulnerable person. And in Brazil, where family culture is so strong, this isolation is even more cruel because it comes accompanied by guilt. What do you mean you want to move away from the family? Family is everything. And this cultural pressure becomes another layer of imprisonment. Here I need to tell you something that perhaps no one has had the courage to tell you. Family is a blessing when it functions within God's purpose. But when a member becomes an instrument of blockage, blind loyalty can cost you your calling. I'm not saying to abandon anyone. I am saying for you to open your eyes and stop handing over the keys of your life to those who want to lock your doors. That was why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, the Manual of God's Chosen to Protect the Family. It is there that I explain with depth and biblical basis how to protect those you love without destroying yourself in the process. The link is in the description and in the comments. Act while this clarity is alive within you. The third sign is exhaustion without apparent cause. You sleep 8 hours and wake up destroyed. You eat and do not feel nourished. You pray and feel that the words hit the ceiling and come back empty. You work the whole day, and at the end it seems you produced nothing. You have already had medical exams, already looked for rational explanations, took vitamins, changed your diet, but nothing justifies that constant weight upon your shoulders. This tiredness is not of the body, it is of the soul. It is what happens when you are fighting a spiritual battle, without knowing you are in a war. The fourth sign is perhaps the most painful, sabotage disguised as care. It is that relative who says, "I only want your good," while convincing you to give up on your dream. Who says, "I am worried about you," while planting seeds of doubt in your marriage. Who asks, "But do you have money for that?" with a tone that is not of concern. It is of disguised satisfaction. This type of envy is the most difficult to identify because it comes wrapped in affection. But true love celebrates. True love impels. True love does not extinguish the flame. It blows so it may grow. If someone who should support you systematically discourages you, stop and think, is this care or control? The fifth sign, and few preachers talk about this, is the repetition of patterns of failure within the family. When envy operates for generations, it creates a hereditary cycle of limitation. It is when you look at your family history and realize that no one truly prospers, that there is always someone who sabotages whoever tries to grow, that there exists an invisible ceiling that no family member can surpass. The grandfather did not succeed, the father did not succeed, the uncles did not succeed. And now they expect that you also will not succeed to confirm the narrative that in our family it is just like this. It is not genetics, it is not destiny, it is a spiritual dynamic that perpetuates itself when no one has the courage to confront it. If you identified with at least 2 of these signs, what I'm going to tell you now will impact you. The weight you feel is not your weakness. The stagnation that dominates your life is not a lack of faith. It is a lack of vision regarding what is really happening on the spiritual terrain. Now let us go to the solution. And I want to be very direct with you. The solution is not to cut your family out of your life. It is not to fight. It is not to accuse anyone. It is not to go out shouting that so-and-so is envious of you. That only makes it worse. The solution is spiritual, strategic, and deeply biblical, and it has 5 steps. The first step is discernment. You need to ask God for eyes to see what is happening, not with anger, but with the clarity that comes from the Holy Spirit. Discernment is not suspicion. It is wisdom applied to relationships. It is knowing who can have access to your plans and who cannot. It is understanding that not everyone who is part of your family tree deserves access to what God is building in your life. And this is not malice, it is spiritual maturity. The second step is the protection of information. Joseph was sold by his brothers after telling his dreams. He did not err in dreaming. He erred in revealing the dream to those who did not have the maturity to hear it. Many blessings die in the announcement phase. Envy feeds on information. When you cut the supply, it weakens. Did you get a promotion? You do not need to post it in the family group. Are you planning a move? You do not need to ask the opinion of someone who never supported you. Did you receive a promise from God in prayer? Keep it in your heart as Mary kept the words about Jesus. A closed mouth is a spiritual shield. And I know that in Brazil, we have this culture of telling everything to everyone, of sharing every novelty, of seeking approval in others. But understand one thing, not every audience deserves to watch your rehearsal. Let the public see the premiere when the work is already finished and no one can stop it. The third step is strategic forgiveness. I know that this word is difficult. I know that many people use forgiveness as a rug to hide abuse. That is not what I am talking about. I am talking about a forgiveness that recognizes the pain, honors the suffering, but refuses to be defined by it. While you carry a grudge against those who envy you, you are spiritually shackled to that person. They come and go in their life, but you stay still, trapped, ruminating. Forgiveness is not for them. It is for you. It is the key that opens the cell where your miracle is trapped. God cannot pour new oil into a vessel full of bitterness. You need to empty it first to be able to receive. And this is a daily choice, not a single event. It is a spiritual discipline practiced every morning upon waking, saying, I choose not to be a hostage to what they did to me. The fourth step is the reconstruction of the spiritual fence. Every property needs a fence, every house needs a wall, and every family needs well-defined spiritual limits. This means establishing specific prayer routines for your house, for your marriage, for your children. It means anointing your doorposts, not as superstition, but as a prophetic act of territorial demarcation in the spiritual world. It means declaring over your family what the Word of God says, no weapon forged against us shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against us in judgment shall be condemned. It means creating an atmosphere within your home that is so dense with the presence of the Most High that any envy that enters through the door loses its strength before causing damage. When you raise this fence, envy loses its access channel. It is like closing a window on a stormy day. The rain continues outside, but it no longer enters your living room. And the fifth step is the most powerful, prophetic inversion. God is a specialist in transforming the enemy's weapon into a construction tool. Joseph was sold as a slave and became governor of Egypt. The brothers who sold him had to bow before him, asking for food in a time of extreme famine. Not for revenge, for divine purpose. God does not avenge you, God positions you. And this is the difference between those who understand the divine plan and those who live reacting to evil with more evil. Prophetic inversion is not about humiliating those who humiliated you. It is about occupying the place that was always yours, with dignity, with grace, with an authority that does not need to shout to be recognized. It is about arriving where they said you would never arrive, and when you arrive, extending your hand to those who tried to knock you down, because your greatness does not depend on anyone's fall. Did you notice how everything connects? The symptoms, the causes, the solution, everything forms a spiritual map. And this map points to a truth that perhaps you have not yet accepted. You are not a victim. You are a target. And only one who carries something of value becomes a target. No one envies those who have no potential. The envy you face is proof that there is something extraordinary inside you that the enemy wants to suffocate before it comes to light. Think of a diamond. It spends years under the earth, under extreme pressure, in total darkness. But the pressure does not destroy the diamond. It forms the diamond. You are that diamond. The pressure of family envy will not destroy you. It will polish you. It will prepare you to shine with an intensity that only those who passed through the fire can achieve. Now I want to speak directly to you. Yes, you who are watching at this exact moment. It may be in the early hours of the morning. It may be during your lunch break. It may be on the crowded bus returning home. You who woke up today with that weight in your chest again, who looked in the mirror and asked yourself how much longer you will endure, who cried in secret because you have no one to share this pain with without being judged. I want you to know, God sees every tear, every poorly slept night, every prayer that you thought was not heard. Everything is being recorded in the heavens, and the hour of the turnaround has arrived. Do you know why I say 3 hours? Because in the Bible, great deliverances happened in short periods when the people decided to act with faith. The walls of Jericho did not fall after years of siege. They fell in 7 days of obedience. The water of the Red Sea opened at the moment Moses extended the staff, and the people took the first step toward the impossible. Peter was not released from prison after a judicial process. The angel appeared at night, and the chains fell as if they were made of paper. The miracle does not depend on time. It depends on positioning, and your positioning begins now. I want to propose an exercise to you. In the next few minutes after this video ends, find a quiet place. It can be the bedroom, the bathroom, the porch. Close your eyes, place your hand on your chest, and say out loud, "I free myself from all envy that was cast against me and against my family. I forgive those who envy me, not for their merit, but for my own freedom. I declare that no weapon forged against my house shall prosper. And I accept the calling that God placed upon my life, even if I do not yet completely understand what He wants from me." Do this with faith. Do this with tears if you need to. Do this with that holy indignation that is born when you finally understand that you have already lost too much time carrying a weight that was never yours. Do this looking to the sky and saying, "Enough, this far and no further." And afterward come back here to the comments and tell me what you felt. I read every comment, every one, because this community is not a number to me. Your comment may be the confirmation that another person needed to take courage and act. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Every week there is content that can be the right word at the right time. Share this video with someone who needs this message. Sometimes the liberation of another person begins with a simple gesture of yours. Now to close, I want to engrave something in your spirit. Family envy is real, it hurts, it delays, but it does not define your destiny. Who defines it is the Creator of the universe, and He has already decreed over your life things that the eyes of your family members cannot see. They see the now. God sees the after. They see your limitations. God sees your untapped potential. They want to keep you small, to feel comfortable. God already sees you as great, walking in the fullness of the purpose that was designed before you were born. Everything you have lived until here, the pain, the contempt, the solitude within your own family, the sleepless nights, the prayers that seemed unanswered, all was preparation. God was forging in you a resistance that no envy will break, a faith that does not depend on human applause, a strength that only those who cross the valley of the shadow know. You are stronger than you imagine, closer than you feel, and the miracle that seemed impossible is one decision away. I am going to tell you something that few people understand. When God is about to promote someone, the attack intensifies. This is not a sign of abandonment. It is a sign of proximity. The enemy does not waste ammunition on those who represent no danger. If the envy around you increased, if the family pressure became more suffocating, if the doors seem more locked than ever, it may be that you are closer to your turnaround than at any other moment of your life. The hottest desert is the one that precedes the oasis. The darkest night is the one that comes before the dawn. And the fiercest battle is the one that happens at the gates of the promised city. I want you to understand one thing. The fact that you have stayed until here in this video is already proof that something inside you is waking up. Most people would have left in the first minutes. Most would have changed the video, would have distracted themselves with something else. But not you. You stayed. You heard. You felt. And that says a lot about who you are and about what is to come in your life. Ordinary people flee from the discomfort of truth. People with a calling face it, and you are facing it now. This decision is today. This decision is now. In this second, are you going to continue carrying the weight of others' envy, letting the look of those who do not wish you well determine how far you can go? Or are you going to let go of this for good, shake the dust off your feet as Jesus taught, and walk in the direction of that which the Most High prepared from eternity? If you chose to walk, I have something that will help you in a concrete way on this journey. That was why I prepared the powerful digital book for you, the Manual of God's Chosen to Protect the Family. In it, you will find practical teachings, directed prayers, spiritual strategies and revelations gathered for those who are exactly where you are now, on the threshold between the pain of the past and the glory of the future. This material has already transformed the lives of thousands of Brazilian families, people on the brink of collapse who found in these pages the map to leave the desert and step into the promised land. The link is in the description and in the pinned comments. Do not wait for the mood to pass. Do not wait for the doubt to return. Act now while this flame is lit. Comment, "I accept the calling," and make your access. God did not bring you to this video for nothing. Every second that you remained here was a step in the direction of your liberation. Now the next step is yours, and I believe with everything I have that you will take that step. God bless you. We will see each other in the next video.